Welcome back. This is episode 3 on how to throw an effortless forehand. Today we're going to be talking about the wrist mechanics and how to generate snap in the forehand. This is only one of the variables that you are able to generate snap from, but we're going to talk about the wrist mechanics. It's one of the levers in our forehand, and to me it's the easiest one and probably the most crucial to start with, because we want to get the muscle memory right on keeping the stuff in the wrist all good. So I got 3 points we're going to break down on the wrist. Before I start diving into the wrist mechanics, do me a huge favor, subscribe. I've had a lot of people subscribe lately, so I'm very thankful. So yeah, just do me a favor, hit the button, especially if you're new or you're returning. I got a long series going on here, and so if you want to see the next episodes, just do me a favor, hit the button. That would be much appreciated. I am going to start by saying I do not want to confuse people when I say generate snap in the forehand with an audible snap. A lot of people think, let's say backhand. Let's talk about the backhand for just a second. If I take a disc and I'm going to throw backhand and I'm coming through, a lot of people refer to backhand snap is the audible noise of the disc leaving your hand. What happens in a backhand is you're pulling through so fast, the disc has so much momentum and it's getting in so much rotation that it's literally snapping out of your hand. And in a forehand, that's not the case. In the forehand, I am actually pushing the disc out, pushing it on its directed path. The disc does not snap out of my hand. So when I'm referring to forehand snap, I'm talking about the snap of the wrist. It's a great way to generate a lot of spin at the end of our whip. Okay, so I just want to clarify that before we get any farther. So the first topic I'm going to talk about on the wrist, number one, is the wrist alignment. Your wrist needs to be locked as far as locked in a straight line, in line with your forearm. If you are doing this in your forehand, a couple things happen. One, you lose power, because like if I told you to slap somebody, you're not going to cock your wrist down and try to slap them like that. You're not going to be near as strong. This is really strong. You have all of your levers are in line, and you can really generate some power doing that, a lot more whip. So if I told you to slap somebody, you're just gonna reach back and you're just gonna slap them, and you're not gonna definitely cock it down. So power, one, we wanna keep everything in line. The second thing is inconsistencies. If you, let's say you're trying to throw flat. In order for you to throw flat, if you're manipulating your wrist angles, that's just one more lever attached to this lever, which is this hinge right here on your elbow. You would have to basically come up at an angle and then flat to release on hyzer. It's much easier if it's all in line. If you can look at your forearm and go, hey, I'm throwing flat. My forearm is flat. If I'm releasing on a hyzer, it's up, hyzer, it's down. We'll get into more later in the series on the angles of the forehand, but I would not be manipulating your wrist because it's gonna definitely cause inconsistencies and less power. So keep your wrist in line. That's point number one. Point number two, I really had a hard time doing this video before grip, but we will talk about grip a little later on. But it's really important that the disc is leaving the correct finger. If I'm doing what I'm going to be talking about a little bit later in the video, the last point, approach shots, softer throwing, my grip is completely different. It looks like this. When I'm doing a power forehand, I'm trying to throw my driver, it changes. So the grip changes a little bit. We'll get more into grip, but you got to make sure that it's leaving the correct finger. If you do a one finger grip, it's pretty simple. It just leaves that finger. But if you're doing a 2-finger power grip or stack grip or whatever you're doing, especially something like this, when you're coming through and you're flicking at the last minute, you want that disc to spin off the longest lever. This is also your strongest finger of the two. You want that disc leaving that longest lever. It's the longest extension on your whip, and it creates definitely more accuracy and less wobble if you're getting it out there and it's leaving that correct finger. It's really hard to not let it leave that correct finger. It's just really hard to do, but I just wanted to make that point that it's very important that you leave the right finger at the right time. Take for instance other sports that you throw objects, like basketball or baseball. There's always different grips on a baseball to get it to do different things. Basketball or football. Basketball for me, if I'm going to shoot a shot and I shoot and the ball leaves the wrong finger, I can tell it's a bit off, and I think with the disc leaving your right finger, you're gonna have better accuracy and a lot more control. Just all around a good thing to have. So that's our second point. Our third point is gonna be making sure that our wrist mechanics are going good this way. So Scott Stokely would say when you're coming through, you do not want to do this. This is called serving the pizza, he would say. You don't want to do that. You definitely don't want to roll your wrist over. If you roll your wrist over, you're going to get really inconsistent. You're going to be pulling your disc on an anhyzer or a roller. It's a good way to, if you want to, turn your disc and put it on a roller, you can do that. But generally speaking, to get the most amount of power and the most consistency, you want your wrist following through this way. And so if you did not watch episode 2, there will be a link right here where you can go watch the end of episode 2. I have a little drill that's gonna help us get this muscle memory and the mechanics down, but we're gonna build on that a little bit today. We're gonna add on to that drill right now. I don't wanna get too far into it, but we're gonna incorporate a little bit more of the arm, and then kind of like an approach, reach back. Something that's good about the wrist mechanics is when you are going to throw the disc, it's good to kind of cock your wrist back like this and put the disc in there like that. That's going to create definitely more spin and rotation. I can just sit here, not even move my arm, just flick my wrist and get the disc out 50 feet or so. And so you can do that before you do this, but I would definitely say cock your wrist back, helps get more rotation. But what I'm going to add to it, I'm going to adjust my camera real quick. Okay, so the extension is I want to make sure that our elbow is kind of beside our hip. Our wrist is cocked back like this, and we're not reaching back. We're not into the reach back yet. We're just in this part of the extension of this drill. Basically gonna stand right here, and all we're gonna do is push the disc out. So start right here, and we're just aiming for that gap. I'm not trying to get a whole lot of distance, just something like that. Right there. Those are great little, that was a little nose up and a little anhyzer. But, so with all those throws, it is a great drill that I do that helps me with touch and make sure I'm getting my disc on the right angle. I would suggest when you're doing this drill to throw neutral putters. Just throw putters, man. They really highlight a lot of the mistakes you're gonna be making. So I would definitely not start with a fast speed driver. I would be using some putters. They are a great tool to use to see your imperfections in your throw. So start there. That's all I got for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button. Go out there and practice. That's the only way you're really gonna get better. Till I catch you in the next one, go in peace and be blessed. Be sure to subscribe.